Celtic, with domestic domination but no European success for many a year. Today's goal is simple: use Moneyball to get Celtic to the later stages of Europe. Okay, so the goal of all this is to get Celtic past those damn group stages in the Champions League and a bit deeper into the European knockouts, using lesser known players that we can sign via Moneyball. So as always in these Moneyball saves, we start on 17th of July 2023 and we're going to fast forward a bit to build up the data. And we might find even more players we haven't thought about in the past because my database size this time is well over 120,000. Now, because this is all about progressing in the Champions League, I'm only going to holiday to December to see how they do in this season's campaign and to see what we've got to work with. As we get to the 31st of December, as you can probably imagine, it's Celtic and Rangers at the top of the table. Rodgers still in charge at this point, but the good news stops there because their Champions League campaign was pretty miserable, finishing bottom without a win, without a point, and only scoring one goal. Not so good, Brendan, not so good, and that's where we come in to take over and try and sort this out using Moneyball. So Brendan Rodgers is ruthlessly booted out and in I come. I'm going to make a point of not signing anybody in the first season. I want to see how good the initial team are, plus the transfer budget is non-existent. So instead we work with what we've got and try and see if any of these guys will be capable of getting us through Europe next season. So we've got a pretty big squad and most positions are covered, it looks like. There's two of everything, two goalkeepers, a rake of centre-backs, lots of midfielders. Striker position maybe looks a little bit short. In goals, there's Kasper Schmeichel, who's having a pretty good season to be fair, but at 38 he's probably a position that we should look for next season. And just before I start looking at the rest of the squad, I need to find out what formation they've been playing. To do that, we'll go to the schedule and have a look at a few matches, and as you can see here, it looks like it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. As we check another couple of matches, again 4-2-3-1 against Motherwell. How about that Champions League campaign? Yep, 4-2-3-1. So the players are suited to a 4-2-3-1, so we'll make my version of that. And there is my version of the 4-2-3-1. These players should be suited to it. I've gone slightly less aggressive with an eye on Europe next season. So for my 4-2-3-1 to work, I need attacking fullbacks that will overlap the wide players. Greg Taylor is the left back of choice at the minute. Looks pretty solid in defence, but assist wise it's pretty short. Doesn't beat across the ball much, although he is pretty accurate. But I've kind of looked out there because I've just remembered Kieran Tierney has a pre-arranged transfer. He's going to be joining the club. He's at Arsenal at the minute, but he's going to be the left back. He's going to be perfect, isn't he? On the other side, it looks a little bit better in terms of an attacking fullback. Alistair Johnson, good progressive passes. You can see he's more aggressive because he doesn't win the ball back as much, but his expected assists are higher. Centre-back looks to be strong. Cameron Carter-Vickers wins the ball back and doesn't give it away. Partnered by American Austin Trusty, who looks pretty decent as well. It seems to drop off from a defensive point of view with the cover though, so maybe we need a couple of centre-backs. So as it stands at the minute, I'm looking for a goalkeeper and a centre-back to put pressure on Trusty. If I look to play defensive midfielders, I look pretty well set. Callum McGregor, fantastic at winning the ball back, doesn't give the ball away. Progressive passes are pretty decent too. This season he's been partnered by Engels, who is only 21, so there's definitely room to grow, but he does win the ball back well and he gets a little bit further forward. So he looks promising. I'm prepared to play out to the season to see if he improves even more. We might not need another player in there if he does. Key position for this setup to work is attacking midfield, and Rio Hatate, although has not started every match, when he has started, his attacking output is exceptional. To the end of the season, he slots in there, and let's see if we need to improve that position. Wide positions will be crucial for this tactic. Now, they've been playing 33-year-old James Forrest nearly every match. He's done okay, his goal return's fantastic, but at 33, I do think we might need to find someone a bit younger. But it looks like we're only going to need one starter because Jota has been absolutely exceptional in terms of an attacking midfielder. Look at that. There's also been some good backup as well, but most of the time he's playing off the bench, but his output is decent. So at the minute, Jota will start out there for the rest of this season. This season, Rodgers has favoured Daisen Maeda to play up front with 12 goals in 20 matches. Problem is, he was goalless in the Champions League. It looks like he's been a fairly selfish player, only really contributing goals. Nothing else, no assists, no link-up play. He's all about goal scoring. As of yet, nobody else has got a look in. Adam Ida has played a little bit, but not much. Rest of this season, I'm going to rotate that role, but we'll look to improve it come the end of the season. So I don't want to spend a lot of money because I want to keep it quite realistic, and I want to find some players that we might not have found before in Football Manager. So I'm going to start shortlisting now with a big eye on players that are coming out of contract. And crucially, at this point, I kind of know what key positions I'm shortlisting for. As we sailed through to the end of the season, the team took to the new tactic style pretty well, and they took down the title, but it was quite close, only 2 points separated ourselves and Rangers. Quite a few of the players impressed me this season, especially Jota and Hatate. Playing regular, not only did he contribute to the attacking side, but he started to contribute to the defensive side of the game as well, playing in that central midfield zone instead as a number 10. And with more game time, Adam Eder ended with 16 goals and a ridiculous goals per game ratio. And I was wondering if Engels would continue to progress. Well, he did just that, turning in a stunning season. So a little tweak to the formation helped, made us a bit more defensively solid, because this number 10, instead of being up here, contributing nothing defensively, he actually turned into a pretty decent ball-winning midfielder from an attacking sense. Now, I played Maeda out wide because I wanted to get the other striker in the game, and he did alright, but he didn't really contribute enough, so he might be a bench player next season. Now, the big news is I've built the shortlist. Most of these players, I'd say 99% of these players, are players that will be out of contract at the end of the season. So the way I found these players, I started shortlisting them in January, February time, under the expiring contract status, and then I monitored them to see if I was going to pull the trigger. For example, I am targeting Walter Benitez, the PSV Eindhoven goalkeeper, who's had a fantastic overall season. And crucially, in European competition, he was good as well. I did that for each position. For centre-backs, I was looking to make sure they weren't losing the ball and they were winning the ball back. That brought back a wide range of players, including youngster or Takaya, exceptional in both aspects. I was surprised to see Eduardo Quaresma might be available from Sporting. He's interesting because he can play a couple of positions as well. It may be that he could be better suited to be a defensive midfielder. And a player I do have my eye on is Jonathan Panzo, because he's good on the ball, he can play a couple of positions, might be a better ball playing defender than what I've already got. What Afeni Matthew lacks on the ball, he makes up for as an out and out destroyer in midfield. Also on the shortlist was a wide attacking midfielder with an eye on assists and goal output. This led me to a few options. Lucas Haraslin would be a fantastic choice. And also Adama Traore. Not that one, this one plays his football in Hungary, but has a great overall attacking contribution. Then it was time for the big position, striker. I wanted a striker who not only would score but would contribute assists as well. It's a big ask. Pietro Pellegrini is an option. He contributes the goals massively but not the assists. But I am thinking about an ambitious move for Brazilian Pedro at Flamengo. He hasn't played many matches, but he's got some pedigree. Either way, the shortlist is set, so I know what players I'm going to target. So as we return for the new season, I guess the big news is that we've lost £65 million worth of players. I said I was going to keep this realistic, and Saudi came in with 18 million for Nicholas. And out of nowhere, Real Madrid took Arnie Engels' offers for a fee rising to a whopping 47 million. Overall, a lot of players went out, and I managed to bring in 10 new players, all from that shortlist that we'd built. The team is definitely stronger than last season, with a new goalkeeper, new centre-back, new defensive midfielder, and we've got a gap up front. Actually, no we don't, because right at the end of last season we sealed the 16 million signing of Brazilian Pedro. So I wanted to keep this realistic, and I think I've done that. We did spend 16 million on Pedro, but we've recouped an absolute ton of money. Defensive midfield's going to be McGregor, he stays for another season. We have either Quaresma or my defensive midfield destroyer Matthew. He'll come and go as we need. If we need to lock a game down, he plays, and he'll probably play every European away match. Overall, we've got a really good squad now, and it's covered in every position. And we started the season like you might expect, with some big wins. No more so than this 8-0 win over Kilmarnock, with Pedro bagging in a hat-trick. New signing Traore had started off insane with 4 assists in 3 matches. By the midpoint of the season, we were undefeated, top of the league. But that's kind of expected, right? New signing Pedro, 27 goals in 24 matches and just an outrageous striker data chart. I was right to sign Panzo as well, because he's been outstanding. Look at that. And a returning Kieran Tierney is some of the best fullback statistics you'll see in Europe. In fact, only rivaled really by his right-back partner Alistair Johnson. Overall, the domestic campaign was pretty faultless, only a couple of defeats, both to Rangers. Meant we take down the title with 97 points, scoring an astonishing 138 goals. Shout out to Rangers though, who also got 90 points. We also win the League Cup, and we've got a final coming up against the old firm rivals in the Scottish Cup final for a domestic treble. But that's not why we're here. We're here for the European campaign and to try and progress into the knockouts. So how did it go? It was the perfect start with a big 4-2 away win at Monaco. However, we did then lose away at PSV, which was disappointing. However, the result of the season came next as Manchester City came to Celtic and Maeda hit a late winner. Wins followed against Copenhagen, a draw against Feyenoord, and a super impressive away victory at Porto. before a tight defeat at Anfield in a game we probably should have got a draw. We even scored a win against Barcelona. It's clear the new signings and data approach has had an effect as we go from the disaster of last season to nearly qualifying top 8 this season. So we made it to the knockouts where we drew Monaco, and in the second leg, this goal from Traoré sent it to penalties. And this is where Benitez in goals really came up trumps. With Panzo scoring that, it meant Lopez had to score and Benitez did the rest. So we're now deeper into Europe than Celtic have been for a good while. Tierney scored the winner in this one. Into the second leg, and the result of the season as McGregor, a day one player, smashes it in as we beat PSG twice. Unfortunately for us, our reward was Real Madrid and Don Carlo. Fair to say we got battered in the first leg but managed to only lose 1-0. Back at Celtic Park, Trent's Real Madrid kind of opened up. After 52 minutes it was already 2-0 and 3-0 on aggregate. However, the boys then woke up. Jota supplied the assist. And in the 71st minute, we drew it level. And then drama as a VAR call on the 73rd minute gave us a chance to draw level. A new hero, Pedro, did not let us down. 3-2. On the way to extra time, but then in the 97th minute, Valverde did that. An epic run as we get Celtic deeper into the competition than they have done in years to the quarterfinals. It's fair to say a new star was born up front with 63 goals from Pedro in 56 matches. Outrageous. Add to that Rio, who scored 25 from midfield. Kieran Tierney with the best fullback performance I've seen on this game. 30 assists. And 23 from the other fullback. I played Quaresma most of the season as a defensive midfielder and it was the right choice. Overall job done, getting Celtic deeper into the Champions League than we have done in years, and there's still one more match to try and get that domestic treble.